So, a common question I get is, how did I get into LinkedIn lead generation? Well, my story of LinkedIn lead generation begins back with me in Florida. That's where I'm from. And I was in Central Florida, and there wasn't much happening in the area. It just wasn't working for me tech wise, connecting with tech entrepreneurs. It felt like a lot of people, honestly, were being fake and being posers, at least where I was. And so I looked around and I said I had to change this situation. It was a few years back, and I went online actually and looked up a Google ad, a Google search result, and it was telling me about the top places for entrepreneurs to get started. Denver was one of them, and I knew nothing about Denver at all. I knew nothing about the West, hadn't really ever been. So I just decided to pack up, get in a car, drive up to Denver from Florida with the little I had. Landed in Roach Motel, lived out of my car for a bit. And after living in my car, for a bit, eventually was able to get work in contract or writing jobs. So I was doing a lot of work for banks, doing work for just different writing publications. And during that time, I said, this is not going to be the answer to all my problems, because I really had a desire to do something positive for the community around me, for the greater world. I also wanted to do something positive for my parents, for my family. And so I decided to start a business, and I was doing digital marketing. So the world of writing and digital marketing are so close. Now we call writing content marketing. It's very confusing sometimes, but so I ended up getting into marketing, and I was doing everything. I was doing websites, I was doing social media autoresponders, anything you needed, I could do for you. And I was just hustling. Right? Living out of your car will do that. And so I was trying to talk to a customer I met at a conference, and I'm selling all these things. I said, what you like, stop me when you see something you like, And at one point, he's just like, I can't use anything that you're offering me here. So I just asked him, I said, just tell me, what is it that works for you? What is it that you use? He says, I use LinkedIn. So I said, okay, I do LinkedIn. And it wasn't a total fabrication. I did do a lot of LinkedIn messaging and connecting when I first got here to Colorado. I was living out of my car, but I knew I needed to connect with people, because I really do believe people are the new currency. If you can help people get what they want, you can get what you want, as Zig Ziglar says. So when I first moved to Denver, I was trying to connect with a lot of people on LinkedIn. So I said, sure, I can do that for sales. And I found out quickly that it's not the same thing. I had a lot of people pissed off at me at first because I was doing the wrong sort of things. And the customer was paying me for 0 results, which is always great. But eventually, I improved the results, and I got a process down to where we were getting sales calls. And we were going from a couple sales calls to more, to with a recent customer, we were able to get over 10 sales calls lined up for his business. And so that is really how the LinkedIn lead generation thing happened for me. A lot of trial and error, but I am loving how stuff is improving and we're getting better results for customers. Now, another question I typically get is, all right, so what is it that you do? What do you actually do for customers? And I always respond first with the reason why I'm doing it. Because for entrepreneurs, we have a product today, we have a product tomorrow. It's not the product at the end of the day that really makes the impact for me. It's going to be why I'm doing it. So there are really three reasons that I'm doing this whole thing for, and they also are the values for the company, Saint313 Limited. And it's giving, honesty, and vulnerability. And so giving, the way that plays out is, I don't want at the end of the day for me just to do a cool thing or sell a cool product and me be the only person that benefits. So we do something called 1% for good. That means of all the revenue we collect, 1% of it goes to economic empowerment. That's helping people that are in rough situations to improve themselves through entrepreneurship. There's a program that they're able to go through, and it's been very awesome, very helpful. So that my money goes to that local organization. Now, I should also say these values really speak to something huge and awesome I'd really like to do for humanity. But these values are the way that I can express that right now, where the company is at as we're growing. Now, back onto honesty and vulnerability. You've probably met marketing and salespeople in the past, and they're awesome folks many times, but sometimes you deal with one or two that are a bit interesting. And so when I asked people in the past, especially in IT services, I said, so what's your experience like with marketing and sales folks? And their experience has not been great. It's someone trying to keep them on retainer without giving them much value back, or just trying to say, yeah, we got great likes for you and tweets and all this great stuff. At the end of the day, for me, that's why we focus on sales calls, because it can add a demonstrable difference, improvement to a business's bottom line, to their revenue, to their profit stream, all of that. So that's what we really focus on. And the honesty and vulnerability is me just saying at the end of the day, if I don't think the service is going to be helpful for you with LinkedIn lead generation, I won't bother with it. I mean, I do have folks every once in a while that come to me and says, I like to pay you. And that's an awesome thing. It's an awesome thing. But if it's not going to work, I will say, and people can attest, I'll say, I don't think this is a good fit right now. I see this is the number you told me, and this is what it costs, and it's just not going to work. But hey, we can sit down. I would love to show you how this whole thing works, because it's super simple. Super simple. But yeah, getting back to how the whole LinkedIn lead generation works is really, it's about getting IT service companies on the phone with future clients. So what that looks like is we go on LinkedIn, we do three things. We connect we find the right people, then we connect with the right people, and then we pitch the right people. Now, on LinkedIn, if you're on LinkedIn, you're probably like, oh yeah, I've been pitched before. It's not the greatest. I get pitched, okay? We all get pitched on LinkedIn, but I want to bet you, and I'll bet you a shiny apple at the health food store around the corner, that the thing that turned you off most about it is that this pitch had nothing to do with you. We all love to buy stuff. We all need to sell stuff all the time. We need to sell people on our companies or our personal brands, or we need to sell them on our kids to put them in their school, whatever it is. So we're in consistent mode of buying and selling, but what we don't value is when people are not valuing us as individuals, as unique individuals with great potential. So the difference between Saint313 doing LinkedIn lead generation versus everyone else is we take the time to actually see what people are up to, look at their posts, look at their updates and actually comment on it, actually talk about it, actually acknowledge them as people. And the biggest thing for me, even more so than getting the sales calls, is having the responses from people saying, thank you for noticing, or thank you for the compliment. That's super important because, yeah, you can sell a product, but who wants to feel icky at the end of the day, or people angry at them for spamming them at the end of the day? So that's another way that we're looking at success, is saying people are happy with us and they feel acknowledged and valued after we connect with them, after a sales message, by the way. So all of that really explains why this company exists and what we're all about.